arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. So today we are going to take a sutta which is similar to another factor which the Buddha is talking about. Over here, the Buddha is talking about the powers in detail. So Buddha talks about the powers in another way is the 5 faculties or 5 powers. So Panch Indriya and Panch Bala, they are both the same, but they are considered to be different in the levels. Maybe certain monks translate it as Panch Indriya maybe when you are starting off. And when you are a Sotapanna or you have attained vision in the Dhamma, then you develop your powers. So those 5 things are similar to what they are there in the 7 factors which we'll be talking about. This is also a in the larger set, the 5 powers is in the larger set, which is the Bodhipakya Dhamma, that is 37 requisites of awakening. Now, in this 34 requisites, 37 requisites of awakening, there are 4 factors of mindfulness, Satipatthana, then Sammapadana, that is the 4 right efforts or right practice, which we call, or harmonious practice. And then there are 4 powers, mental powers or Itipada. Then there are 5 faculties and 5 powers. Then 7 factors of awakening, and then 8-fold path. So that is 37. But this is not mentioned in the 37. This has many factors, almost all the factors of the powers, Panch Indriya, Panch Bala. But they are not having 2 factors. So we will discuss each of these factors, and I'll point out those factors also which are not mentioned. So we will start, and it will not take a lot of time. This is a short sutta. So it is from Anguttara Nikaya, Book of 7, the Sutta 4. Vitthatabalasutta Sutta, powers in detail. Students, there are these 7 powers. What 7? Power of faith, power of energy, the power of moral shame, the power of moral dread, the power of mindfulness, the power of collectedness or concentration, and the power of wisdom. So when we are talking about the Panchabala or the 5 powers or 5 spiritual powers, we have these factors which are there: the power of faith, the power of energy, the power of mindfulness, the power of collectedness, and the power of wisdom. But there are 2 factors which are not mentioned in the 5 spiritual powers, is the moral shame and moral dread. Those are the factors which are not fully mentioned in the Bodhipakya Dhamma also. Those factors are not mentioned any other place also. So we will spend a little time on that also, but we'll see what are the in detail what the Buddha is talking about. So the Buddha certain times gives the summary of the talk, and then he gives the detail. And one of those talks is Majjhima Nikaya 18, where he gives the summary, but nobody asks any questions. So they go to some other monk to kind of get the detail, Mahakoita. So that is how it is. But over here, maybe he is giving it a summary and the detail though. So, and what student is the power of faith? Here, a noble disciple is endowed with faith. He places faith in the enlightenment of the Tathagata. Thus, the Blessed One is an Arahant. So, Arahant is a fully awakened being. And Arahant as a concept was there in the time of the Buddha. Before the Buddha became Buddha, when he was a Bodhisattva, that time also the concept of Arahant was there. but nobody claimed themselves as arahant. Only after the Bodhisattva gained awakening, then he referred to himself as an arahant. So that is an important factor to notice, is that this arahant factor was there in the psyche of the Indian population, but nobody was able to attain that level or the concentration or the attainment of arahant, which is the full destructions of the craving, full destruction of ill will, full destruction of illusions or delusions. Those things are required for one to be recognized as an arahant. So the Blessed One is an arahant, perfectly enlightened, accomplished in true knowledge and conduct. True knowledge and conduct means that he has the information or the knowledge of whatever he is saying, and his actions are in line with his knowledge. So he has the knowledge also, and he has the actions which he is doing is in perfect alignment. Then fortunate, knower of the world. So he knows the world. One way of when the Buddha is talking about that he sees and then he knows, and only then he says. That is very important. Certain times you may say something based on the scriptures. You may say something because your teacher told you. You may say something because you have some logic, you have applied the logic to it. But the Buddha is saying that he knows and he sees, and then only he says. So the knower of the world is also an important, unsurpassed trainer of persons to be tamed. So the Buddha cannot make everybody awakened, or he cannot benefit everybody. The Buddha can only benefit the people who are ready to receive his teaching. So just a few days back, I just put one Buddhapada verse on my Instagram. There is a commentary about that. So I remember briefly the commentary. There were 5 people who were sitting to listen to the Buddha. So one person was paying attention. One person was scratching the ground. One person was playing with the branches of a bush. One person was doing something else, I don't remember, and one person was looking up in the sky. So the Buddha said that somebody asked, Ananda asked, why were they not able to listen to the Buddha? The Buddha himself is talking, but they were distracted. The Buddha said that because of their old karma or their old actions, this is the result which is there. One who was scratching the ground was searching for earthworm. He was an earthworm in the past life. One who was playing with the branches was a monkey in this past life. Some other one was, I think, scratching. So he was a cat or some kind of animal like that. And one other person was an astrologer. So he was very much interested in the stars. And the other person had good karma, so he was able to listen to the Buddha. So in that same way, not everybody can pay attention, not everybody can receive the teaching. You have to have good fortune. If you are able to even listen and even pay attention to the words of the Buddha, that is a very fortunate condition of a human being. So that is a very important factor, that only the people who are ready to receive the teaching can receive it and will be, but for them, he is the perfect teacher. Teacher of devas and humans. So there is very, in India, there is a lot of controversy about devas, and there is also a sanitization of the Buddhism, which is devoid of devas. But the Buddha over here is saying clearly that he is the teacher of devas and also humans. So it is a very clear thing that the devas are there, and the second thing is they can be taught. So one other misconception is that if you are reborn in a Deva Loka, then there is no chance for you to attain knowledge. As a Deva, you can go into Sotapanna as well as Saktagami. You may have to take one birth as a human being to work out the meditation, and then you may get awakened. So those things are to be understood. The enlightened one, the blessed one, this is called the power of faith. So one who has faith in the Buddha and which is unshakable, the Buddha says that he can never be reborn in a lower birth. If he has perfect faith in the Buddha, then he is destined for the higher birth, and within 7 lifetimes he will be awakened. So he is Buddha is saying in short that he will become a Sotapanna just by having the faith. If he has a faith in the Dhamma also, or if he has faith in the Sangha, so those that faith will propel you forward. So that is a power which a person has, the power of faith. And what is the power of energy? Here a noble disciple has aroused energy for abandoning unwholesome qualities and acquiring wholesome qualities. He is strong and firm in exertion. So the concept of the right efforts is also abandoning unwholesome and acquiring the wholesome. So there are 4 right efforts. One is to prevent unwholesome from coming in the your mind. Then if you unwholesome has come, you abandon the unwholesome. Third is you bring up the wholesome. Fourth is when the wholesome is there, you try to increase it, cultivate it, and maintain that wholesome. So that is the right effort. So that is the energy, the right energy, the power of energy is that you, whatever unwholesome is there in the mind, you let that go and you put your attention on the wholesome. So this is the same teaching the Buddha is giving in Majjhima Nikaya 19, where he is dividing all the thoughts into wholesome and unwholesome. And he says, whenever I put my attention on the wholesome, there is no harm he can see which can happen. That is of metta, karuna, that are the wholesome. Then the ill will is there, or a craving is there. That is unwholesome. So the Buddha is dividing those thoughts and putting his attention. So that is the power of energy. So then he is strong, firm in exertion. So he will be doing what is required to be done, not casting off the duty of cultivating wholesome qualities. That means he's not being lazy. So whenever there's an opportunity to practice, the person practices. This is called the power of energy. But I wanted to warn about the energy, that energy is not a one-way street. Energy does not mean that you put more and more energy and that is better and better. So there is one other sutta I just wanted to give an part of that sutta, which is, where did I open that sutta? One second. This is Anguttara Nikaya, a book of 5, 27, dot 4. The fourth point the Buddha is talking about. The knowledge arises that is personally yours. This collectedness is peaceful and sublime, gained by full tranquilization and attained to unification. So the Buddha is talking about the tranquilization and the unification. What the Bhante used to say, collectedness of the mind. It is not reined in and checked by forcefully suppressing the defilements. So the Buddha is saying that it is not being forcefully suppressing the defilement. This mind is not mindful. It is mindful because it is tranquil and unified. That is samatha and vipassana is there. And based on the samatha and vipassana, the mind is mindful, not based on the suppression. So when we hear about energy, energy has to also be balanced, not to think that energy is a one-way street. And anyways, the Buddha is warning about the extremes. So if you do too little, then that would be extreme. If you do too much, then that would be an extreme. You have to come back in the middle and balance this energy. So that is also an important factor we have to be aware of. Now the Buddha is talking about, and what is the power of moral shame? Here a noble disciple has a sense of moral shame. He is ashamed of bodily, verbal, and mental misconduct. He is ashamed of acquiring bad, unwholesome qualities. This is called the power of moral shame. So now this is called hiri. And then there is a twin of it, uttappa, that is the moral dread. And what is the power of moral dread? Here, a noble disciple dreads wrongdoings. He dreads bodily, verbal, and mental misconduct. He dreads acquiring bad, unwholesome qualities. This is called the moral dread. So, one thing is that when we have a sense of shame, then there are certain things you will not do. If you are ashamed of being rude, then you will not be rude. You will say that what will others say? What will the reputation I'll get if I am rude? What would they think that in India they say that have your not parents not taught you well not to be rude? So what if they blame my parents? So that is the sense of shame which is there. So when the person has a sense of shame, it is also a limiting factor. Say you were on a diet and there was a cake in the fridge. So you will go and have one piece of cake and then you feel a sense of shame that, oh, why did I eat? I had decided not to eat. When you have that, then you can stop eating that. If you were without any kind of checks and balances, then what would happen is you would continue eating because there is no checks and balances. So when a sense of shame is cultivated, that sense of shame is for the wholesome qualities. It is through body, speech, and mind. When a certain act is done, like thinking ill will, thinking of cruelty, thinking of dissatisfaction, thinking of in jealousy. So when a person is thinking such thoughts, then what happens is his verbal actions which are there will change. So what he speaks can change. It can become more harsher, and what he does can change. He may want to get things which was not given to him, and that is how there is a slippery slope. So what if you are thinking ill will, say, about somebody, but you then have this check in your mind that no, I should not think ill will. The Buddha has said that one should not think about other person in the manner where you want to hurt the person or not happy with the person, but you have to use metta. Then you can put yourself in check. So the moral, the shame thing will put you on the check. And then the moral dread, which is there, is the fear of doing wrong things. Now, fear of doing wrong things is that when you are planning to do certain things, say there is a nice, somebody has just left his mobile or something like that on the bench, in the park bench. You see that. And your mind may say, oh, I will take it. There is no owner of that. But the right thing would be to take it and give it to the lost and found or ask around. So then if you have moral dread, then you will think, what will my parents think if I go to at home with a stolen thing, which is somebody has not given me, even if I have not stolen it, somebody has not given it to me, but I have acquired it without trying to find its owner. What will my parents think? What will my teachers think about me? So there is a fear which is there in the mind of doing unwholesome acts. So that puts you in check and helps you prevent breaking the precepts. So that is the reason the Buddha is saying that moral shame and moral dread are your powers. This is Hiri and Uttappa are your powers, because this will help you put your actions in check, and that will prevent you from going into bad actions. But one other thing about it is this also has to be balanced. You should not use shame or your fear to limit you. Say if you are going out somewhere, you see somebody who is hungry, and you think I will give him a sandwich or something like that, but you may be shy. You may fear that, oh, what will the people think that I am going to office, but then giving out sandwiches, or people will think that he's trying to kind of act smart or something like that. So, but that fear will limit you from doing a wholesome act. So you have to understand this fear and dread should not stop you from doing the wholesome things also. Like you had to go to say the temple in Sri Lanka, there is a dress code of white is a dress code. You don't have that dress code, but you are feeling ashamed that, oh, I don't have a dress code, I'll not go to the temple. The monk has come for a good Dhamma desana, but I'll not go because I don't have the dress code. But that is a wrong kind of shame. There you have to go beyond your shame because you are going for a wholesome act. So if you want to help somebody to give some food, then you have to be more bold and do those things. I had one incident which I am a little shy person. I was working at that time, and I was buying some food for myself. And then somebody came over there and was inquiring about different kind of food. How much is this? How much is that? How much is the full plate of? They have this thali system. They have this full meal system. How much is that? How about if I have this much and not this much? Then I was just listening to him, but I thought in my mind that maybe this person does not have enough money. That's the reason he's inquiring so much about the food and how much it is costing. So even if my previous disposition was a little shy, I said that, do you want to have a meal? You can have the meal. So I went behind my kind of hesitation, and he actually wanted the meal, and he was hungry. So he was very grateful for this thing, me offering to pay for his meal. And that person, the shop owner, was also very happy. I said, give him extra chapatis, I'll pay for it. The shop owner said, no, no, I'll pay, I'll give the extra chapatis from my end. So we both helped this person because I went beyond my shyness. So there is a threshold for this also. There also, when you are saying that fear and dread, shame of doing something or dread of doing something, that should also not stop you from doing wholesome things. So these are the certain things which are there. Then, like in the job which is there, you have to go and approach the clients. So you should not have fear to approach the clients. You should not have shame to kind of do a job. Like somebody is given a salesman's job and he says, no, I have done so much studies. Why should I go door to door and sell something? That is a shame limiting you in your job. That shame you have to go beyond. So you have to be sure that you are using the moral shame and moral dread in a wholesome manner for doing wholesome things and avoiding unwholesome things. So that way you have to balance. So everything the Buddha is talking about has to be done in balance. So there can be extremes where it can become unwholesome. So you have to see every action which you are taking, it is in balance. Then there is, and what is the power of mindfulness? Here a noble disciple is mindful, possessing supreme mindfulness and alertness. One who remembers and recollects what was done and said long ago. This is called the power of mindfulness. So sati has memory in it. So Bhante also said what is mindfulness is remembering to observe. So that remembering which is there is the important factor. So you remember to observe how your mind's attention is moving from one thing to another. So that remembering factor, the Buddha is talking about going beyond just remembering to see how your mind's attention is moving. He says you recollect what is said. Say if this teachings are given over here about the 7 powers, about the Satipatthana, or about the Eightfold Path. If one can remember it, then they can take benefit of it. By putting your attention in the present, you will be more likely to remember. So when you are going into school or college also, what does the teacher say? Pay attention. Listen to what I am saying. And when you are listening to what I'm saying, you will be able to learn and remember. So there is a formula also. They say that you have to listen. You have to see what is happening. You have to write it. And then you have to again recite it to put that thing which you have learned into memory. So these things were there in the time of the Buddha, where they used to memorize all the teachings. Sutta Nipatta is something uh, which is at the time of the Buddha, they used to memorize. And in one of the suttas, the Buddha is approached by a young monk, and then the senior monk says, "This monk is very talented. He has very good sati. He has memorized the Sutta Nipatta." So that time of the at the time when the Buddha was living, they used to memorize his teachings, and that was praised by the Buddha. The Buddha says one other thing is when you memorize the teaching, you can recollect it and put it into practice. So memorization also help in this manner. So that mindfulness is to be used. And what is the power of collectedness or concentration? Here, secluded from sensual pleasure, secluded from unwholesome states, a noble disciple enters and dwells in the first jhana. And the same way, the second jhana, the third jhana, and the fourth jhana. Also the Arupa jhanas. So the Buddha is talking about the power of concentration in the sense of jhanas. Jhanas we have covering a lot of time, so I'm not going into detail in the jhanas. Because we do cover in many suttas, and even in the retreats we cover it in detail. And what is the power of wisdom? Panya. Here a noble disciple is wise. He possesses the wisdom that discerns arising and passing away. So that is a very important factor the Buddha is talking about. Said he has the wisdom of arising and passing away. So he knows that what has come into being and what is now passing away. So he has the knowledge of arising and passing away. So when a person has a knowledge of arising and passing away, he has the knowledge of impermanence. Not being there, it comes into being. Being there, it vanishes. So there is impermanence over here. Then the other factor is not being there, it comes into being. Means it has come on its own. And being there, it vanished on it. So he knows that it is impersonal. So the arising and passing away, the knowledge of arising and passing away also give you the understanding of the anatha, the impersonality. Because you see it arising on its own and passing away on its own. You see a thought arising on its own and passing away on its own. So that knowledge which is there will be important. Then there is a knowledge of dukkha. So the Buddha is talking about certain times in 5 factors, which is arising, passing away, gratification, danger, and escape. So this is about arising and passing away. You are seeing what is arising and passing away. What is the gratification? When something pleasant arises, you are happy with that. That is the gratification. What is the danger in it? Danger is it is impermanent. So whatever you are deriving pleasure from will be gone. That is the danger. And what is the escape? The Eightfold Path or the 6 R's. So something arises and you 6 R, then there is no gratification and there is no danger. So that is how the Buddha is talking about. So the arising and passing away is a very important factor to understand the 3 characteristics of the existence, which is the impermanence, the dukkha, and the anatha. So when you are talking about the dukkha, one other thing is, if it is arising and passing away, there is nothing you can hold on to. There is nothing where you can resist also, because it has to pass away. So there is no requirement to resist. If there is a painful feeling arising, then you can be patient with it, and as the time goes, it will pass away. Sometimes the time period is longer in certain cases. In certain cases, it is faster, but it will pass away. So the wisdom is the discerns the arising and passing away, which is noble and penetrative and leads to complete destruction of suffering. This is called the power of wisdom. So the Buddha is talking about in a very simple terms that when you know the arising and passing away, it will lead you to the complete destructions of suffering. So that is a very important thing. Bhante Dhammagavesi used to say that wisdom is always related to the dependent origination. And dependent origination, when you see, it means it shows clearly how something arises and it passes away. So based on ignorance, there is sankhara. And when based on sankhara, there is vijnana, there is consciousness. Based on consciousness, there is nama rupa. Based on nama rupa, there is the sixth sense basis. So salayatana. So now what the Buddha is talking about is one is dependent on the other. When one arises, the other arises. One passes away, the other also passes away. So this is a study in arising and passing away. So the whole of the dependent origination has this theme of the impermanence which is there because it is dependently arisen. So one is not there, then the other will also not be able to be there. It is shown as the kind of two bales of grass resting on each other. When one bale is not there, the other bale will also fall away. So that is how you develop your wisdom. So the Buddha is talking about the seven powers. And then in the end, he gives a summary of it in a verse form. The power of faith, the power of energy, the powers of moral shame and moral dread, the powers of mindfulness and concentration and wisdom, the seventh power. A powerful student possessing this is wise and lives happily. He should carefully examine the Dhamma and deeply see the meaning with wisdom. Like the exhausting of a lamp is the emancipation of the mind. So the Buddha is talking about a simile which the Buddha gives about a lamp. The lamp is there based on the oil and the wick and the flame which is there. At one point of time, the oil will get finished and the wick will burn and the fire will get exhausted. So you cannot say the fire has gone to the east. You cannot say the fire has gone to the west. You cannot say fire has gone to the north. You cannot say fire has gone to the south. But the fire is not there. Why is the fire not there? Because the causes and conditions for the fire has been exhausted. So in the same way, when we have with wisdom, seen all the arising and passing away, and we don't identify with whatever is arising, and we don't sorrow for whatever is passing away, then we will be totally exhausting our attachments, the habitual tendencies. So there will not be any habitual tendency. When there is a contact, there is a feeling, but there is no craving. Because there is no craving, then there is no clinging, and there is no habitual tendency. There is no birth of action, and there is no death. That is the reason this path is also called the deathless path. So one is extinguished like a lamp. That is the emancipation in the mind. So all the attachments when is given up, then a person is considered to be an arahant. So you have to practice and use these powers in our daily life. We have to use the power of faith. Whenever we have doubt, we have to overcome by faith. We have to use the power of energy. When there is more energy required, you put more energy. When there is less energy required, you remove energy, you relax. You use the power of moral shame and moral dread. You use the power of mindfulness. You use the power of samadhi. And you use the power of panya. You use all these powers in the daily life. And by using that and continuously working on it, you will be able to gain more and more understanding. So now we can be open for questions. Is there any questions we have?
Bhante, I have a question just to clarify further. So the power of moral shame and moral dread essentially is falls down to the intention, correct? So if we have the right intention in place, then naturally we will be able to discern what to be shameful or fearful of, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
And you need to have certain amount of knowledge also of what is wholesome, what is unwholesome. So that knowledge you can keep in background before taking any action. And one of the things the Buddha is talking about in one of the things is that there are certain beings which are there, which you can see you and they can read your mind. There are certain monks which are there. There are certain ascetics which are there who can read your mind. So even when you are thinking some unwholesome thoughts, you have to think in that moral dread thing that, oh, what if they are able to read my mind and see that how I am behaving? How would it feel? So there is a shame, you will feel shameful. Certain times you think certain things, but you are not ready to even speak about it. But when you are thinking in that sense, then you can control your even thoughts, because you are seeing that there is an observer which is there. So just reminding yourself, it may be false that no, not everybody is sitting and trying to look at your mind, but having that observer, sense of observer can also help you. So that same way the mother, father, teacher are as a symbol, symbolic in that sense, that you are seeing that what would they say if I do this? If I steal, if I kill, if I maybe use bad speech, what would they say? So that
Bhante,
is one.
oh, sorry, Bhante. So just to clarify, having the sense of someone as an observer, uh, can we also think of it as we are observing? So I'm trying to relate to the impersonal nature of the thought that arises as well. So can we also see it as we are not the thought itself, but we are observing the thought as it arises and as it falls, because we
Correct.
have no control.
There is, in I think MN 43, they say the eye of wisdom. Majjhima Nikaya 43, who observes? So I think Mahakohita says that, or Sariputta, he says that it is the eye of wisdom.
Yeah, yeah.
It is the faculty. Bhante used to say that there is a faculty of wisdom in the mind, which is watching the mind.
Mm.
So when you are watching with wisdom, that is the faculty of wisdom which is there. So there's no duality in it, but it is the faculty which is has. So as we can speak and we can also see, there is no duality in that. That if I can speak, how can I see? So in that same way, the mind has the faculty of wisdom. So you're watching through the eye of wisdom, what is arising and passing away.
Mm. Bhante, can you explain a little bit further when you mentioned it's not a duality?
Duality means that I am an entity
Uh,
who is watching another entity, which is the mind.
uh,
And that becomes a duality. But the Buddha is talking about only the mind. So there is a singularity in that. And the Buddha is talking about the process rather than a entity. Say, if I say that this is a mouse, okay? So the mouse for a limited sense is always like this. In a quantum sense, you can say that it is always the atoms are going and coming, the electrons are losing, it is decaying, and all these things is happening, but that is a different manner. But we can say that this is a mouse, okay? And this is static. in one viewpoint. We can say this is a static thing, but we can say that this is a Zoom meeting which is happening, which is also a thing. We can see it, but it is happening, arising and passing away. There is a certain amount of arising and passing away. There is a, my screen maybe say 50 hertz. So there is 50 in 1 second, 50 times the lines are arising and passing away. So this is a continuous things. It's a process. It's not an entity. It cannot be frozen up in time and consumed or kept in a drawer. So this Zoom meeting is there. So this is continuous process. So the mind is a continuous process. And this mind arising and passing away is the continuous process of dependent origination.
Okay. So if we have that sense of duality, that there is a part of the mind that is observing the, then we are, in another word, saying that this part of the mind is an entity that okay, right. Okay.
I said the faculty of wisdom is also a part of this process. So that is also impermanent. The wisdom part is also impermanent. The wisdom is also growing. Every day I have an experience. I have a conversation. I read a sutta. I sit in a meditation and I have an experience. Every day my wisdom is changing. Every day I am a different person. You speak to me after 1 month, but then you will see that I is the same person. But in my own understanding, it has changed. Yes? You can take it. So that process which is there will remain there till the time of the perfect understanding. When you understand perfectly what is arising and passing away, then you let go. When you let it go, that time is like the exhausting of the lamp. The oil is finished, the wick has been burned, and the flame has been exhausted. So then there is no action of an arahant has any kind of attachment to it. So the arahant may have a thought, oh, this place, there are many people who are ignorant. I need to go and help them. They may have, but there is no attachment to that. The Buddha once was sitting in meditation and he had the thought that my monks are becoming too emancipated. They are becoming too thin because they are eating one meal, but not everybody. Everybody had a own practice of food also. So somebody would have only one bowl of food. Somebody would have a quarter bowl of food. Somebody would have only 3 handfuls of food in one sitting. So then certain people had very less food. So then he said that I should give them a something for the evenings. So then he gave the requisites which are called allowables, like ghee is there, oil is there, molasses is there, sugar is there. So he allowed that, juice, all these things he allowed. So they don't become too thin. So that is how the Buddha had a thought, but there is no attachment in that thought. There is no me and myself in that thought. There is a process of thought is still there, but there are no attachments which are there related to that.
Okay, thank you, Bhante.
Okay. So any other questions?
Reverend, could you please explain again? You said something like Bhante Vimalaramsi said that faculty in the mind has wisdom. Could you explain that again slowly, please?
Yes. So the Buddha said that the eye of wisdom, what the Buddha is talking about, is a part of the mind which deals with wisdom. So there is a part of the mind which may be dealing with the past memory. There may be a part of the mind which may be dealing with the current, what is happening. So there is also a faculty which is there, the ability of the mind which is there, which is related to wisdom. And when we are doing meditation, we feel that there is an observer. So when we sit in meditation, we see like you go into higher states of meditation, like you are going into nothingness. So there is nothing which is there, but there is a sense that there is an observation which is happening. There is nothing arising. There is perfect calm. There is darkness is there, but you have a awareness that there is a watching which is happening. So this watching which is happening through this eye of wisdom, this faculty of wisdom, this observation which is happening. So when you see your mind get distracted, when you recognize, that is also an observation you are doing. You recognize, I have a thought, you release, you relax, you smile, and you are back to the object of meditation. So now this observation which is going on is the observation and the faculty of wisdom which is acting to do this observation. Did that help?
Yeah, thank you very much. Great. That's a great help, sir.
Okay.
I was reading a sutta yesterday, and it said something like emptiness. I don't think it was a translation by Bhikkhu Bodhi.
Mhm.
Is the emptiness relating to what you were just saying, or is it something different?
Emptiness is also called voidness, and Buddha explains the voidness as void of something. Like when somebody is there in the market, he is surrounded with the sounds. Then he goes to a monastery. When he goes to a monastery, the sounds of the market is not there. So the monastery is void of the sounds of the market. But there are sounds of the monastery which are there. Then he goes to the jungle. So when he goes to the jungle or the forest is void of the noise of the monastery. But there are sounds which are there of the forest which are there. There are crickets are there are frogs are there are lions and goats and whatever are there in the forest. Now he sits in meditation. And when he sits in meditation, he goes into a kuti and sits in the meditation. And then now what happens is he puts his attention inwards. So he is not paying attention to the sounds. So now his meditation is void of the sounds of the forest because he has put his attention inwards. Now then when he is in first jhana, there are five factors are there. Thinking and examining thoughts are there. Then there is joy is there is tranquility is there is collectedness of mind is there. Then he goes to second jhana, certain things are given up, thinking and examining thoughts are given up. Then he goes to the fourth jhana. Then he goes to the fifth stage, which is the arupa jhanas. So in successively he is giving up certain things, and then there are certain things, it is void of the whatever was there in the fourth jhana when he is there in the arupa jhana of infinite space. When he is there in the arupa jhana of infinite consciousness, he has given up the space. Now he is in the, what is there is the consciousness of the consciousness. Now when he gives up that also, then he is in the voidness, and that is the arupa jhana of nothingness. So that is void of all what was there previously. But there is certain things which are there in this space of nothingness also. Does that help?
Yes, that's a great help, sir. Thank you very, very much. Bless you.
Is there any other questions?
Sir, I just wanted to be clear when you were talking about energy, the thought that came to my mind was 6R. So is energy and 6R two different things, or is it connected?
Energy could be equated with attention, and attention is a major part of 6R. So they are related to each other. So if you have attention, then you will be able to recognize. And when you are able to recognize, you are able to release, relax, and return back to your object of meditation. So that is what is important in the 6R, which is the factor of energy, is the attention which is there. So if your attention is there on your object of meditation, then you are aware that the distraction has taken you away. So this distraction, when taking away, your awareness is there. And that is the reason you are able to release it. You can relax, re-smile, and return back. And that is the factor of attention. So attention and energy are related. And attention, energy are related to 6R. So they are all complementary to each other. So 6R is a correct thought which you have when you are talking about energy. Because that is the important factor. Where you put your attention, there you give energy. There you give food, nutriment. So if you are giving your attention to the object of meditation, you are feeding the object of meditation. But if you are giving your attention to the distraction, then you are feeding the distraction. If you fight the distraction also, you are giving the energy to the distraction. You try to suppress it also, you are giving the energy. So you don't suppress it, you don't fight it. You just release your attention, relax, re-smile, and return back. And that is how 6R is a part of the process of how you use your energy. So you are correct in that sense. Energy and 6Rs are very closely related.
Thank you very much, sir. That's a great help.
Any other questions? Any other persons in the chat, you have any questions related to meditation or the sutta, then please be free to ask a question. I think no more further question. I think so. So we'll share the merits. I just wanted to ask just before that, there is a chanting going on behind me. Are you able to hear that?
Bhante it's very faint, so it
not
doesn't bother. Yeah, unless we are like in the meditation period, but other than that, it doesn't bother.
Okay. I just wanted to know. So, okay, then we'll share the merit. May suffering ones be suffering free, and the fear struck fearless be. May the grieving shed all grief, and may all beings find relief. May all beings share this merit that we have thus acquired for the acquisition of all kinds of happiness. May beings inhabiting space and earth, devas and nagas of mighty power, share this merit of ours. May they long protect the Buddha's dispensation. Sadhu. Thank you everybody for coming, and hopefully you will also come to the Wednesdays meetings also, and take care. Thank you.
Thank you, Bhante. Thank you, everyone. Bye.